These were done by Lou Stovall.
Some of the posters here, yeah. Lou did a lot of my posters where they were produced at his place, even if he wasn't the one that did it.
On the wall here, you've got McDonough Arena, Constitution Hall, Emergency.
So, the Georgetown University ones were mostly in the gym, and it was called McDonough Gymnasium. And I didn't like the sound of that, so I changed it to McDonough Arena. And now hear people, when they talk about the place, they talk about it as the arena instead of the gymnasium. The Paul Butterfield, Bonnie Raitt, and Little Feat, that was my first date with all of those people. And I thought it up in almost a dream. I woke up in the middle and I had been trying to think of a show that I could do at Georgetown that was strong enough to sell out in the gym. And that one just came to mind. And then I didn't think that I was going to be able to put it together, but I called Butterfield's people and they were interested. And then I called Bonnie Raitt, and her manager was interested, and he said, "Oh, by the way, we've been working with this band called Little Feat. Would you be interested in putting them on the show too?" And then things just magically came together.
Did you manage the Warner?
The Warner had been closed for about 4 years, and I got a lease on the place and reopened it.
What did you book into the...
Emmylou Harris was the first show there with Earl Scruggs, and Steve Miller played there. The Tubes. This is Leon Redbone at the Warner Theater. And that's Dave Mason at Catholic U, I believe.
There was one show at Catholic, I think. Was that Mountain that I heard?
Mountain was my first show at Catholic. And that was a real test project for seeing if we could have another rock concert in the city. The whole area was shut down to rock concerts. But we managed to get through that one without any trouble.
Why were they shut down to rock concerts?
Because they were afraid of the violence.
Because after the riots, or?
Because people thought the music should be free.
Was that where there? Because Bud mentioned something about was there like a battering ram, or people are trying to get in?
I don't remember anything about a battering ram.
I don't know. Well, here's the Ambassador.
That was the first show at the Ambassador, and that was Peanut Butter Conspiracy and Mandrake Memorial. Grateful Dead had been scheduled, as you know, but we weren't able to get the theater open in time for that. So this is Stephen Stills, a show I did in Roanoke, and this is the opening at the Warner Theater with Emmylou Harris and Earl Scruggs. And you notice their names are in a circle, so neither one of them was the headliner.
And this, these are in the mid-'70s about, or here's your Country Joe.
That was 76.
Look at that one. So that's Country Joe. Who did that?
That was Lou Stovall and Lloyd McNeil.
Where would you put up those posters?
Everywhere I could, in record stores, on walls, lampposts, trees.
It's not like the psychedelic ones of the time. You went for something else. You went for another.
Yeah, I
look.
wanted them a little bit more artistic. But I also wanted them readable. And the psychedelic posters, somebody once said that, I said, well, what's the meaning of a psychedelic poster? And they said, well, you can't read it. And that I just saw pointless. I wanted to sell the concert, and I wanted people to be able to read it, but also get a sense that it was artistic and fun.
That was your first show, and then this must have been your next one, the Ramsey Lewis, and
right.
And then that one is the one next to it, Sly.
That actually wasn't my concert. That was Lester did that show.
Oh yeah, there is LG.
I had nothing to do with it, other than I probably gave Lester the phone number for Lou Stovall.
Hey, that's a beautiful. I've never seen that
it's a
poster.
beautiful poster.
That's.
And I found that in the trash.
You're kidding?
On M Street.
Wow. So that might be the only one of its kind.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've never seen that. So here now, there's an emergency one up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then down there, did you work with the Beach Boys?
Yeah, at Georgetown.
That was quite a market then for you.
Georgetown was a good one for me. I did all their concerts for 6 years.
But the colleges in general, I mean, it must have been.
Well, it was, and and I don't want to get carping on the nature of this business, but once people saw how successful I was being with college concerts, it was like almost overnight it stopped. The deals changed, and I couldn't get good deals. And I remember one act where the difference was one guy was offering them for $250 less, and it was a school that I had been dealing with over and over again, and I lost the school because I couldn't get the artist for $250 less. And all these things like that happened all at the same time, and I don't believe that it was coincidence. It had to be because of the article that it pointed out how much I was doing.
What article?
There was an article in Amusement Business, and it listed grosses, and it showed the shows, and it made me too successful.
So that's how your business model, that's how it changed?
The college thing just immediately stopped.
That's too bad. But that sounds like that's part of the nature, you know,
Yeah.
the competition. The swimming with the sharks, I guess.
Exactly it. And the college thing kept me competitive. But every time I would get a competitive edge, then Cellar Door would get a new competitive edge. They got the exclusive at the Capitol Center. That made them monstrous in this area. And Jack Boyle always said, first he said he wasn't going to produce any shows, and then he said he wouldn't produce any shows that he couldn't drive to. And so most of his shows were in the Washington area. But then he started doing shows in other markets, and he became the dominant promoter on the East Coast. So he had most of the South. He was doing all the shows, and he had Michigan, Detroit. He had an office there, and he had an office in Florida, and he had another one in Virginia Beach, and he was big time. And I couldn't compete with that. And he, you know, at that when he was starting out, he treated me really well, and he used to, you know, I had an open invitation to any show he was doing, and he would give these dinners after concerts where he'd take the artist to some restaurant, and there would be a back room someplace where 30 of us would be sitting around having a party. And that's where I met Bonnie Raitt. She played the Cellar Door, and that was also where Jack lost her loyalty because he made some remark about her manager, and she decided she wasn't going to work for him again.
So that's kind of, you know, it's those kind of things that, you know, those are really these intangible things that kind of, you know, sink or swim.
Mm-hmm. And that was a lesson for both of us, you know. But, you know, I was developing it as I went along, and it's now that I stand back and I say, well, this whole industry worked this way, but I didn't see it back then. You know, it might have been more helpful for me if I had been able to see the bigger picture.
You know, just the longevity is really...
Well, I'm boneheaded. That's what it comes down to. And my friends for years told me I shouldn't be in the business, that I was too nice. It's a really rough business. But I wanted to do it, so I kept doing it anyway.